Alright, so I made you guys a video on yesterday. I'm gonna show you this real quick just in case it changes, but we have a state of exhaustion here. These bars can slow the market down with the square on it, but if not, then it can definitely be a problem. But that was on this bar this morning. There's our magenta bar. We can talk about those rules, but I definitely wanted to share that with you. That's the value benchmark position building indicator, and that's why it's important when they break them. It's just really important how they behave. All right, so now the thing I want to tell you, that's an hourly too. Yeah, so yesterday's video here. Thank you for watching that too. Whoever you are, thank you. The detecting algos. Look at that information there. Just look at what that chart looks like. All right. Now this is here. All right. They hadn't got there yet. I'm not guessing at markets. I can promise you. I don't need indicators. There's two things that happens on a chart that shows weakness, even though they continue. My private community should know what they are because I told you guys there's two things you can almost bet it that if it's headed back in that direction, go ahead and aim for it. That's down here. All right, so and that's that information there. And just to give you a close up of it here, that's here. All right, so now I came back and I, let them know, hey, they couldn't make it. All right, they just couldn't make it, so I provided that video link there. This is a sweep level. I thought that this would, drive down, hit this, but not hit here because that would have been an absolute problem. That's why I say I doubt it because they have a reason to go back there. They ended up taking off to the upside and then just drove down, just being very difficult back to that same area because I told them they need to get above here is important, and of course they were still down there holding it, and so they pushed up. All right, so I knew that that was a sweep level. Now I want you to pay attention to this price, that sweep level. I want you to look at that. All right, then let's take a peek at that chart. That's that sweep level. All right, look at that response, exact price. All right, I'm not missing with this stuff. Look at this response here. Look at this response. No indicators. No indicators at all needed for this. Now, this morning's video, we were right there, and I tried to outline it here. And I'm gonna give you the rules for this chart here, and hopefully you'll keep up. And again, thank you so much for the new follower that I gained on X. Thank you so much, and I hope you stick around and support the information because a lot of people they'll join the channel, they'll join on social network, but they don't support it by hitting the like button. That you just try to share it. All right. So here's your rules. All right. I'm not going to try to teach this stuff to you. All right. In that regard, every video I can't do it. So that's that same pivot, right? Okay. Then remember when they make this and break it, it's bad. Okay. Those little cyan, I'm sorry, the little light green or the light magenta squares, those are the institutional value benchmark institutional bars plotted as a text. All right. Now this is the institutional bar order flow. All right, these are those bars. But I want to make sure that you understand when they plot these squares, it's them. It's either they're coming out of it or they're about to get it going. So either they're going to be on the bottom and they're going to flip it or they're going to exit. And so in that 9:30 video, it was over here. And then, of course, 9:30, we watched a couple bars, and I told you the cyan bars on the decline, if they refuse to get back above them and operate, you got a problem because then the magenta bars become a wall. All right, and so on this run here, we didn't have the magenta bar that held us. It was this morning in that video I made this morning. This magenta bar just really locked in that activity until of course, the news came about. But then, of course, now the magenta's turn, because we're not climbing. So the magenta, you're picking them up on the pullbacks. All right. So it's a different kind of behavior once they come in on the opposite side of the market. All right. And of course, yeah, they can come in here and they lift up a bit, but you got this cyan wall behind you as well as here off of 9:30. There's a wall here. All right. So that's important. All right. So make sure that you pay attention now when it comes to these prices. All right. When it comes to these prices, okay, the hourly is turning sweep here. Returning sweep. We got to see what happens because I think that we may be in a little bit of a problem unless, and I want to say this to you because I did tell them that this morning. Let's see, can I go find that really quickly here? There's another price you guys can try to. I told you sellers are up there, but they couldn't even get that far. All right, so there's another one. I posted it. Okay, here. They should not have came below this price. All right, that's that 29 776.75. I don't like what they're doing with those two price levels that I gave back on the 6. All right, so these two price levels here, let me move this out the way. I gave you this price and that 29 6 61 612. I'm sorry, 612. That little text getting in my way. I gave you those prices back on the 6th, and the market has managed to ping pong itself directly in between them. All right, wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.